always said. All right, so as I've ever said, channel little Toby Keith there. All right, so we are here for GM's Tricks of the Trade on August 27th. I always have to look down there at the calendar because I never actually know what the hell's up with my hair. I never know what's going on. Loud and proud, good deal. I'm not going to touch the mic this time so that it doesn't slowly descend like it did on Tuesday. Mac Buttles is in the house. Hoorah! Yeah, we are here for GM's. I don't know, Tim, what are we doing? We're doing the original, the first GM's Tricks of the Trade, so it's not number 60, it's number 1, I guess. It's like revisiting the first issue, which is pretty cool. We're looking at this first one we did, which is, I don't know, not a year ago. I don't know when this thing came out, but when we originally did this, I had it open a minute ago. Now I've closed it, of course. Let me get this set back up. And now we have a video for it. There you go. Is that your goal, Chuck, is to get us videos for all of these tricks of the trade? Because I don't think we started streaming until like number 20-something or 30-something. Or I've seen all the tricks and beat them all. Yeah, most of this stuff that I talk about, I learned running Mac, Todd, and Chris, and Charlie, for God's sake, Charlie. Charlie was one of our original members. So Mac and I started gaming together in 85, maybe 86. I think Todd and I started in 85, and then Mac joined us about the same time because a guy named Rodney got us all together. And so Mac and I have been gaming, I don't know how many years that is, a lot of years. And so is Todd, but there, 1984, there you go. So, hey, isn't that an important year or something? Isn't there a book called that? But there was a guy named Charlie that was with us forever and a day. He didn't stop playing. He'd still play if he could, but his schedules and time and all that doesn't quite work out. But so Charlie was one crazy player. So he's the only one we really lost over the years. It's been me, Mac, and Todd. Chris joined us in like 90 or right around the time I joined the Army, 89, something like that. So we've had the same gaming group. So what do we got? A tornado warning. Mac, are you up in Faulkner? That's where they're giving a tornado warning. So yeah, we've been gaming for a long time. So a lot of this stuff, I cut my teeth on running these Claiborne. There you go. On running these guys through countless hours of gaming. So Mac was like, how old were you, man? You were like 12 or 13 or 14 or something like that. I know Mac would ride his motorcycle out to where we gamed way out in the country. I was in college and I was in high school because I was working at a meat market with Todd. Mac's 13 and I'm like 18 or 17. I don't know, something like that. It was a long time ago. It was a long time ago. But yeah, a lot of gaming. In those days, we gamed like crazy too, all the way through college, through first part of graduate school, I guess. Really, we didn't split until Mac went to law school. Whenever the heck that was, and I went to the Army about the same time. I think he went to law school right after I went to the Army or some shit like that. I can't remember. But even after that, we gamed as whenever we could. Whenever I'd be back on leave, or we'd play over at his house on Rock Street in Little Rock. Crazy days. Lots and lots and lots of gaming. But that's really, when you put as many hours into it, I know a lot of you guys have as well. You start just kind of picking up on how to do things. And then I could take this stuff to conventions, just the way I ran games or whatever, take them to cons, and especially on those, they really came to fruition on those games that I run at Gary Con and Gen Con. Trying to get my camera set. That I have 25 people sitting at the table, or 24 people, or whatever it is. It's good stuff. Well, we're going to jibber jabber for a few more minutes before we dive into the very first trick of the trade that we ever put out. And just as a forewarning, we have a pretty good storm over us, I think. It's just raining right now. We don't have any wind or thunder. The remnants of Hurricane Laura I suppose, which made landfall this morning in Louisiana. A whopping Category 4, maybe a 5 when it made landfall. It was huge, but it lost its steam, as they always do when they head up into northern Louisiana, Texas, and Arkansas. They break apart. So now all we got is the next 12 hours of just lots of rain and a little bit of wind. It was a big one. But like I said, they always break apart pretty quick, so always enjoy the gibber and the jabber. Yep, there you go, Willie. How's it going, man? I think this storm's not going to get up north to where you are, but it looks like she's going to make a hard right and head across Tennessee and into the mid-Atlantic states before she finishes up. And who knows, maybe she'll pick up a little steam. I'm not sure what would feed her. Maybe some wind, weather off of the Great Plains. Where's the Gulf Stream? The Gulf Stream is it's over Wisconsin, Illinois, right? Southern Canada? I can't remember. Babunski love Arkansas. Yeah, so if you suddenly lose me, it's because I lost power. I don't anticipate that happening in the near future, probably tonight at some point if the winds pick up. But for the most part, we just got this nice, good, steady rain, which is the same thing we had for, I don't know, like 5 solid months. It didn't stop raining until July, and it was raining again. So we've had a lot of that going on. Lots and lots of it. But we're going to give it about another minute, and we'll dive into this first trick of the trade. It's kind of cool. We did things a little differently when we started. I don't know where at in the process I shifted from just doing random thoughts. Now, how's it going, Bifford? KFC? I am having chicken for dinner tonight, but it's one of those pre-cooked things you get at the grocery store. They're okay. I didn't want to drive it. I actually thought about KFC. I just didn't want to drive all the way out there. We've got 2 here. One's in North Little Rock, and that's like 20 minutes from here, and the other one's in West Little Rock, and that's like 20 minutes from here. It's exhausting. It's just exhausting driving that far. In traffic and the rain. But man, KFC, some good stuff. The Troll Lord Dr. Pepper KFC channel. But if they would do maybe DoorDash. Will DoorDash do KFC? That might be something to consider. I really don't like those grocery store-bought chickens. They're kind of tasteless. Did the one on Marketplace? No, it actually, they renovated, it burned down, and then they renovated it and put it back together, and it's a really good KFC. You can get some great KFC, but it's just too far to drive. I don't ever go to West Little Rock anymore. If Rachel's in town, she'll occasionally go out with me, but I just don't get out there. Maybe to Barnes & Noble once in a while. But, all right, well, so we may... Oh, yeah, no, it's the one... Oh, yeah, that one next to UAMS is gone. It's just a Taco Bell now. They did that joint thing for a while, but it's just a Taco Bell now. So it's if you want it, you got to drive for it. My sister has lived in Newfoundland, where they call KFC Dirty Bird because of all the spices. I worked in a KFC for about 6 months. It is a Dirty Bird. I couldn't eat chicken for a long time after that. I've had a long bad history with chicken. I worked in a meat market, and the beef was fine. Handling the beef was fine. It was no big deal. But the chicken, every Sunday I'd have to clean out, defrost the freezer that the chicken was kept in, and any of those birds that ended up on the floor at some point while it was defrosting became this kind of gelatinous mound of just goo it was just disgusting. It would cling to you. It really feels like it should be some kind of RPG monster. But and so I did that. I worked in that meat market for about a year, and it didn't leave a very a favorable taste in my mouth for chicken. And then I worked in McDonald's at the breakfast shift at McDonald's. Don't ever, unless you fall on horribly hard times, don't work at the breakfast shift at McDonald's. You have to break so many freaking eggs that you don't ever want to eat eggs again. And then I worked at a KFC at some point, and it was once, I don't know if you know this, but KFC used to be really, really good food, but somewhere in the 90s, they shifted their buying patterns to they would buy more breeder hens than regular hens, so the quality of their meat went down a little bit. And that's when I worked for him. And man, oh me, oh my goodness, it wasn't fun cooking all that chicken. Ironically, I can cook hamburgers all day because I worked in many a hamburger joint, and it doesn't bother me. Just the chicken does. Yeah, don't we have a Popeyes near? I ate Popeyes once, did not like it. It was not my thing. I'm a KFC guy. But there you go. What's the trick for clean egg break? I don't know if I ever managed that. And the McDonald's eggs are those really tiny ones. They were really small eggs, so you can't even wrestle with it. But I remember the pot that I had to cook in. I don't know if you can see. So it's like yay. Where's my hands? It's like yay big and yay tall, and I don't know. It was just huge, and I had to fill it with a lot of eggs. It was gross. It was just gross. I love Popeye's chicken over KFC, but love KFC mash. Yeah, I don't know. Original recipe. Now, see, I'm going to have to go buy some KFC. God bless it. Damn it, Bifford. This is all your fault. The more I talk about KFC, the more I want it. Now, I'll say this. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should go buy some Popeyes and put it in the refrigerator and leave it there for like 8 hours. That's the best KFC is if you get the original recipe and just stick it in your fridge, let it do whatever it does in the fridge, get nice and cold, and it's just flipping delicious. Yeah, Bifford, this is all on you, man. This is all on you. Well, see now, Willie, you can either try the Dirty Bird or you can try some Popeyes there now that you got one opening up where you are. KFC was always the last resort on our trips. It always helped get things going. Yeah, that's true, Tim. That's that breeder hen I was talking about. It used to not have that effect on everybody. Poor old KFC. Yeah, it's a good restaurant. I think it's fallen on hard times. A lot of them have closed, but who can say? All right, let's wander from our strange chicken obsession and end up in GM's Tricks of the Trade. So back when we started GM's Tricks of the Trade, and I can't even honestly remember. All right, wait. Max got a trick of the egg break for us. Hold in one hand, crack on flat surface, gently separate with finger and thumb. There you go. There's your trick of the trade for breaking the egg. Mac, I thought of you and Tim both last night. I went upstairs. Kathy's out of town, so I'm doing all of the cooking. Normally we kind of cook together, but and I don't like to cook. I just don't like doing it. I don't have the patience for it. I get distracted and I wander off and everything burns. Cereal is the thing that I have mastered the most. I know exactly how much milk to put in my bowl of Frosted Flakes to make it taste really good. Beyond that, it's a struggle. But so I went into the kitchen and I thought, all right, I'm going to cook dinner for everybody. I'm going to do it as fast as humanly possible and clean as I go. And I think I had everything cooked in like 8 minutes. And I started to text you guys, but I forgot because I know you both enjoy cooking. I forgot to text you. The key to cooking, the key to being a good chef is speed, speed, speed. You should see me crack eggs, Mac. It's nothing like that. There's shit flying everywhere. Crack it, throw it. Crack it, throw it. I don't care. If you got to crunch a little egg in there, it's all right. I can crack an egg, but I have to use a saucepan edge, then separate. You see, and I don't like the embryo. I like to get the embryo out of the egg, too. That's or the white part, whatever the hell that is. Everyone just reminded, blah, blah, blah. I disagree. The best scrambled egg has to be done slowly. Yeah, I'm guessing that Mac and Tim both are going to disagree with my cooking assessment. I know my wife would. And she absolutely hates it when I get into overdrive and I just try to get everything done as fast as humanly possible. And Bifford, you'll be glad to know that after I cooked that food very, very quickly, and I ate it very, very quickly. My stomach hurt like a son of a bitch. It was I just had some really good stomach pain after that. I don't know if it was the speed of cooking or the speed of eating, one or the other, but I paid for it very, very soon after that. So on to GM's Tricks of the Trade. So when we first started this, and I'm like 90% certain this was Tim's idea that we start this Trick of the Trade. We had gone out to Team Phoenix had invited me out to do the show she was doing with some bigger show, I don't know, out there. And, of course, she's a good friend of mine, so I went out and we did this great show. And afterward, Tim was like, you should start writing some of this stuff up. So I most reluctantly did it, not because I didn't want to, just we have so many other things going on. And I've tried to religiously stick to it each week to do, 5 tricks of the trade. But in the beginning, what we did I didn't really have subject matter. That came later where I kind of felt like I should deal with a broader subject. I just threw out, random thoughts that I had and things that I'd experienced, recently at a convention or whatever it was. The first one, let's see if the date's on here. Really, that can't be right. The first one came out this year, Tim? Surely not. Maybe so. I don't know. It says February 6th, 2020 is what you forwarded me. I'll be dang. Is that right, Tim? That can't be right. That's just 5 months ago. Maybe. I don't know. Whatever. Time has no meaning to me. But how's it going, Retro? Yeah, there we go. No, August 2018. I don't know what the hell I'm looking at. But, so this thing came out quite a bit. This thing came out quite a bit ago. And, that was a resend. Yeah, but why does it say February 6th? I don't know. It doesn't matter. My brain's not going to be able to compute it anyways. So, just, whatever. I'm not going to be able to consume this. Or understand this. The world has moved beyond me, and I'm okay with that. I was watching a TV show the other day. What was it? That one I just told you about. What is it called? Bounty Hunters. Teenage Bounty Hunters. So I'm watching Teenage Bounty Hunters, and it's a really cool show. These two teenagers, clearly, hook up with this older guy, and the older guy's kind of this grizzled guy's in his 50s or whatever. And the girls are just, bouncy and laughing and all of this stuff. And he's like, it's just really great mannerisms. But I was watching and I was thinking, this is interesting. These children weren't even born when I started playing Dungeons and Dragons. they didn't even exist. And I'm okay with that. I think that's kind of cool. I'm that guy now. That's pretty cool. Now I got to listen to them tell me how the world works because they haven't figured it all out yet, or experienced it like many of us have. But that's okay. That's what youth is about, right? It's to figure the whole thing out and hopefully get us going even better in a different path if a different path is the way we need to go. And when we don't, we pick up the old ways. It's 𝐓𝐫𝐤𝐬 from a different world. I have no idea what you just said. Is that the bounty hunter? Is that what? I don't know what that means. The first TOTT, what is that? I have saved as number 3, which was emailed on 8/16/2018. There you go. Oh, the gentleman in the show. Yeah, he is actually really funny. I didn't know that. That's funny. He looked vaguely familiar. Wait, what? From a different world? No. Is that the one with Different Strokes? I'm thinking of Different Strokes. Okay, I'm not sure what a different world is. But it definitely checks show out. It's really good. It's really, really good. Very well written, and his character's freaking hysterical. But at any rate, back to GM's Trick to the Trade. So I just put 5, thoughts together and rolled them out. And we did that for quite a few of the early ones. Not later did we get into kind of subject matter and tack into that. Yeah, there you go. What you talking about, Willis? Yeah, Different Strokes, Different World. I don't know. They're all the same thing. I don't remember a lot of TV shows. I know I watched. I'm a huge fan of TV. I just can't. I can't remember very much. My brain excises stuff. I think there's really literally only a certain amount of synapses up there that can fire and hold anything. So the old stuff's got to go. It's just got to go. I just can't remember it. And I don't care. I don't care to remember it either. I have forgotten a lot, which is probably a good thing. So the first trick of the trade, and let's get into the first one, as we just keep barreling on, is about pacing. And I know I've talked about this in other tricks of the trade. So this is the very first thing in my thought process that I thought we need to talk about for GM's Trick to the Trade is pacing. And I think it probably wouldn't today be the same thing. It'd have the exact same importance that it did 2 years ago when we started this thing. Different World was a Cosby Show spinoff about. Oh yeah. They're like in college, and it's the older girl, right? I watched that a little bit. I love the Cosby Show. Cosby Show was a good show. We don't go into all that. Whatever. Yeah, it was a good show when it came on. There's a lot of good shows in those days. Who's the Boss was a good show. I like that. There's a lot of good TV shows. Anyways, What? Is it going to be digression? Yeah, Bedford, that's why I was just waving my hand. It just all ended poorly. All these things end poorly. That's the difference between age and youth. Youth still believes that it's going to end differently, and older people are like, yeah, we hope it's going to end differently, but it's probably not. Once in a while. And that's why we play games like Castles and Crusades and other lesser RPGs like, Dungeons and Dragons. Oh, D&D's a fine game. It was a great show. Shame he used to do it. Yeah, I just try to. I have this philosophy. So Todd, great. You should all. I don't often tell people what you should do, but I'm going to tell you what you should do here. So much for pacing. Right, the pacing's completely off on this thing. So Todd Gray, good friend of mine. Chenaulton Gray. That's Gray. You see him in pictures here and there. He works for us. Hold on. He absolutely refuses to watch any entertainment news. He doesn't watch interviews. He doesn't watch late night shows. He doesn't watch any of that stuff because he doesn't want to know anything about any actor or actress. He just wants to enjoy the movie that he's watching without having to think, this guy's a numbskull or whatever. So I try to practice that. When I see news pop up on entertainment people or entertaining, I move on. I don't want to know. I don't know what they said. I don't want to know what they believe. I just want them to do whatever it is, sing and dance and act and blow stuff up and whatever it is that they do. All right, so back to pacing. Willie's going to get us back on track. Okay, so clearly, pacing was as important then as it is now. And I think I really do think it's one of the most important things about a game, because if you don't keep pacing, if you don't keep the game going at some kind of clip, then people start getting bored. Now, if you've got a very experienced crew or a crew that works well together, then the pacing doesn't matter as much, but it still matters then because you really want everyone in the game to be kind of focused on the game. And if your pacing breaks down, if the game kind of slows up for whatever reason, and you're focused on this or you're talking about the Cosby Show or what have you, you're going to start losing players. And when you start losing players, it's hard to rope them back in, because once you've lost them, especially in today's age, 20 years ago it wasn't as bad, but they're going to pick up this little device and off onto the internet they are, and they're going to be reading about Cosby or whatever, and there it is. So and getting them back from that's kind of tough, especially once they start bringing that to the table. They read something funny on iFunny, and then they go, and you're done. Your game's wrecked. You might as well stop and you take a break for 10 minutes and then pick it back up, because it's gonna be a roller coaster of non sequiturs at that point. So pacing, I think, is super important to do. We've talked about it before. Keeping pacing is just making sure everybody's attentive, and when you see it slowing down, you see people starting to get bored, gear it up with either action or more role playing, or as importantly, involve the players, ask them to describe their characters or what they're doing, or what kind of reaction are they going to have, or even develop a little history, whatever it is that you can do to kind of re-engage and get the pace going again. So I think pacing is one of the absolute most important things you can do, and that remains the number one trick of the trade, I think. I totally don't need the backstory. If I did, I wouldn't watch anything, and then I'd be sad. Right. Yeah, we don't need all of that. That's just a good way to put it. And then I'd be sad. So can you name this? That's Jesse Owens. I'm guessing the 1936 Olympics. Is that what I'm looking at? 30. I think it's 36. I'm pretty sure it's 36. 33, Hitler came to power. 36, these are the Olympics. Tell me I'm wrong. Yeah. I got a little bit of history in my belt. All right, so let's move on from pacing and into also players have a responsibility to help the CK maintain the pacing, especially in crucial scenes. Well, see, now that's a good point too there. If players also see other players kind of losing it, it's very helpful to help the CK rope them in, and it's easy to do for a player to do. Just do a little role playing. You step up the role playing, and then you're going to get that other player in and playing with you. And that takes some of the pressure off the CK, or the GM. What are we doing? GM. The GM tricks. That takes some pressure off of the GM because sometimes you can't. It's difficult. At my table, once Todd starts singing songs, man, getting Todd back to the table is tough because he knows every song that was ever made in the 1980s, and he will sing them ad nauseum. He started that last night, and Chris and Mac had to role play him to silence, which was nice. Yes, but that's a very good point, Mac. All right, on to that gives me one of the things Tim and I've talked about doing. We do this GM's Tricks of the Trade. It would be kind of a cool thing to do a Player's Tricks of the Trade as well, where we put things out there that players can actually do and the way they can respond to help the whole thing out. It'd be kind of nice to do like 3 GMs a month and 1 Players a month, just to kind of mix things up, just to help, because I think one of the things, and I've talked about this before, and this is to Mac's point, one of the things that we forget, there's all kinds of descriptors about what RPGs are, but we honestly, we put all the pressure on the GMs, but really there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people at the table, and everybody needs to be participating. I know that when I'm running a game, the more into it that everybody is, the better I run, the more fun I have, the more excited I have, the more energy I have, and that's crazy important. So that the game for me goes better, and I feel like it goes better for everyone at the table. But if you've got people that aren't participating or aren't helping to, forward, whether it's the game narrative or whatever it is, then you can derail a GM just as quickly as a GM can derail a player. And once you lose your GM, you got a problem. You got a problem for a fun game. So we're getting a little power flickering here. I better dive into number 2 before we lose power. Let's see. So the next one is try not to single people out. So this is kind of I don't know if he would do karaoke or not, but he loves to sing pieces of songs. Drives me crazy. So when you're playing at the table and you've got 4 or 5 people or however many people you're playing, and you ask everybody, we all do it as GMs. What do you do? What do you do? Roll initiative, whatever it is. How do you respond? What does your character look like? Whatever questions it is that we ask the players. If you've got someone at the table who's particularly shy, who doesn't want to play that way, who doesn't want to put all of this oomph into their characters, and you're going to have some people love that stuff. They'll describe their character for 20 minutes. They'll go into personality traits and backgrounds and all kinds of stuff because they love it, because they're really enjoying that aspect of the game. Or when they're role playing, they go all in, and whether even if it's not with voices, it's just they role play the whole sequence out. But you have players at the table, and I run into this a lot in my big games at like GaryCon and Gen Con when I've got 20, 30 people there. You've got 4 or 5 people in a crowd that size that don't want to do that. They're just shy. They enjoy rolling dice. They enjoy, the descriptions and the whatever, the adventure, solving the riddles, whatever it is that they enjoy about it. What they don't particularly want to get into is too much attention on themselves and all of that stuff. So when I run into someone like that, I immediately back off. I don't ever pressure them to do more than they're comfortable. I don't try to push them into role playing. I don't try to push them into describing. If they give me a 2-line description and it's clear that they're comfortable with that and that's all they want to dive into, then I don't pressure them for more. I don't peel it out, and that's just a good approach. Don't single people out and make them play the way that that other people are more comfortable with. I would love to be an actor, I think. No, I wouldn't. But I thought about it, but I couldn't. I'm not that type of guy. I don't exist in that mindset. But there are clearly many thousands of people who do, thank God, because now we've got TV shows and movies and plays and stuff that are just cool. Don't single people out and make them do what they don't want to do. GM is just the screenwriter and director. Players need to act. They do, and that's now what Willie is taking. It's a point to the earlier one. Players they're part of the game. They're definitely part of the game. But that said, don't make them do more that makes them really uncomfortable, because they're not going to have fun doing that. And then you're going to feel bad too, because 1, you singled them out, and 2, it could very well eat up your energy. You're trying to get everybody to get into the game, like this, crazy like this. And then you get to player 3, and they don't want to do it. They don't describe their character very much. They're all this or what have you, and then suddenly your energy is gone. You try to push it, it's just going to get worse. So just don't push them. Let them play how they want to play. Certainly they got to roll dice and tell you what they're doing. They got to do the minimum. You can't just not be just sitting there. But don't make them go all in if they're not comfortable doing it. There's always someone that is a spotlight hog, so it's good when 𝐓𝐫𝐤𝐬 can spread the focus around without shining the spotlight. Yeah, you definitely have people who love that, and that's the key is. And you'll learn quickly, especially after you've run 3 or 4 games. You're going to learn very, very quickly. One, how to even notice or pick out which ones are going to kind of play this way, and which even on the way they're creating their characters, you can kind of pick up what's going on, the way they're going to play. But just try not to single them out. As a player, I know I tend to take the spotlight just as being the one who's willing to speak. I make an effort to push decisions onto the other players. Yeah. Well, there's the side too. There's the other side too, and it's a tightrope for players, because if you take the spotlight too much and run the game too much, make all the decisions, then other players who are quiet or shy start to get a little bit angry or resentful that player A is now kind of running the show, telling everyone what to do and where they're going to go and all of that stuff. And you do run into that. It's a risk. It's a risk that you run into, but. You're not going to, as a GM, you're not going to help yourself by forcing someone who doesn't want to, give this 10-minute colorful description of their character, forcing them to do that. That's not going to help your game at all. You really let them play that way. They certainly do have to do something at the table. They certainly have to play, but they don't have to, get into all of the demonstrative voices and the role playing and all of that stuff. Or stop showing up. Yeah, you don't want them to stop showing up. Everyone wants to have fun. But, I think that just be careful singling people out. It's not going to go the way you want it to go. Not generally speaking. You might break someone out of their shy shell and get them into playing something, but chances aren't that's not going to happen the way you want it to happen. Hold on, I got some kind of strange scratching going on at my door. What do we got? Got hounds everywhere. It's not even thundering and lightning. Good heavens. Alright, so on to trick of the trade number 3. What are we doing here? Oh yeah, so this one is a huge... See, this is one of the things that I wanted to stop from the early GM's tricks and trades. It was kind of this list of things not to do. And it's such a, I don't like that approach to things. So I shifted it to ways to do things, just to give it a more positive spin, I suppose. No one likes to have someone constantly telling them what not to do. But, so the thing not to do in trick of the trade number 3 is don't play their character. This is probably, if this isn't the worst thing a GM can do, I can't think offhand what is a worse thing for a GM to do. When a GM starts playing someone's character, and by that I mean, telling them, okay, you get up in the morning and you get your gear together and you head down the road, blah, 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 whatever it is. You're going to fight with your battle axe in this, whatever it is. Don't do that. Don't put emotions on their characters. Your character starts to cry from the wound. The wound is so bad. Don't do any of that. That's just a horrible idea, because you're basically, someone's envisioned this character, this heroic individual that they want to play, and now you've kind of taken over the reins of that and directed it in whatever direction. There's a chance you're going to direct it in the correct direction, but even if you do, you're probably going to get a little bit of negative feedback because of that, because it's their character and they want to do it. I keep gently reminding my players they have to help me tell their story. Yeah, see, that's a good way to do it. Now, that's in reference to, I think we got a lag going on, but somewhere in reference to trick of the trade number 2, don't single people out. That's the way to coach people into playing. But again, if they're very shy and they don't want to do it, and I've run shy people at the table for years, if they don't want to get into the long role-playing session, trying to discover where the bandits came from, what the bandits' motivation is, what they took from the locals, and how we're going to get it back, and talking to the daughter of the king and whatever it is. You're not going to get there by forcing them, by making, okay, what do you, singling that person out and trying to make them role play through the session. You're going to get someone who becomes very surly and quiet and probably resentful, and then eventually, or just angry and they're going to leave. It's just, anytime you're singling someone who is shy out, is not going to cure them of their shyness ever. Not ever in my experience has a shy person been cured by humiliating them or dragging them out into the limelight. That might happen in the TV shows, but it just generally doesn't happen. Our party started as heroes, and we all turned into a bunch of murder hobos. There's a movie called Murder Hobo, isn't there? That's got what's his name? Rutger Hauer is in Murder Hobo, some kind of murdering hobos. It's an okay movie. I've seen it. I watch a lot of crappy stuff, and that pops. Shotgun Hobo, that's it. It's okay. It's fun. I'm driving home. There you go, Willie. There's the lag. Just trying to type while you're driving, never a good idea. Also, playing someone's character can also make the player mad, and they will start acting against the CK on purpose, and the game can go sideways quickly. Yeah, that's it right there. That's it in a nutshell. Because once you take over someone's character, and Mac and I have seen this, once you take over someone's character, it's just never going to go how you want it to go. And I know what the GM's doing. They're trying to tell a story. They're trying to push the narrative forward and create emotion and create all kinds of things that are going on at the table to get everyone kind of hyped up and involved. But it never goes the way you want it to go. You've basically taken over someone's character, and it just, even if you do it correctly, there's going to be some resentment. Yeah, I know. Mac knows exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, and it doesn't mean that the GM is bad. It's just not a good thing to do. And sometimes we do it as GMs. We get super excited about wanting, the characters or the players to have this type of emotion or this type of involvement or this type of whatever it is. And you can't force that. It's like making a shy person unshy. You can't really force it. You've got to coax them. You've got to run the game such that they become emotional, that they become involved in it, that they are at the table and interested in what is the unfolding narrative. And that's part of other, we've talked about that in other tricks of the trade. But the way to not do that or the way to wreck that is to play their character. It's never going to go like you want it to. If it does, please write me and let me know how it worked for you, because I've never seen it go how you would want it to in that circumstance. So on to number 4. This would be the 4th tricks of the trade that we ever wrote. So music. Okay, so this one was kind of cool. This is something that's fallen off 42 data. Joined the mid-discussion on tip number 3. Does the tip account for players missing from the table? Wait, what was tip number 3? Don't play the... Oh, yeah, well, that's a tricky one. And that's a fantastic question, 42. Absolutely fantastic. I'm being attacked by a pack of dogs. I'm not sure what's going on. So when someone's not at the table and their character has an integral part to what's going on, what do you do when they don't show up for the Thursday night game? Do you play their character or do you not play their character? That actually be a fantastic subject for next week's Tricks of the Trade, because I could actually expound on that quite a bit. I used to play their character. I used to then actually kind of do their character as I thought they would do. And that caused almost the same problems as playing a character when the player is actually at the table. So I quit doing it, and I started doing. I basically gave if you didn't show up, you had the squirts and couldn't participate, so you were out for the day. But yeah, Magnos, and that's kind of where I've landed on that. We had 2 players who didn't show up last night, and I just didn't play them. They just aren't there. They stayed in the tavern drinking, and that's what. And then next week, I know, so the party moved like 25 miles from where they were last night when we played, and then next week I'm the one, no one's rejoining, and she's just going to be with them. She's just going to be with them. She was lagging behind when they fought the ogre rats that they fought and the ogre that they fought on the road. And this way I kind of avoid having to play, because I think generally speaking it's just a bad idea to play someone's character. The problem is if they miss several games in a row, you start running into some issues as they start lagging behind in experience points. And if you're like me, I really don't like giving experience points if you're not at the table. I don't like to play catch up and just give yourself 500 to catch up with everybody else. And it's not fair sometimes, I guess, because people can't show up for a variety of reasons, and some of them are very important. And so they get penalized. But that's life. That's life at the table. Sometimes you don't get it. Chuck's a good example. He's missed like 4 games so far. Let's see. Most shy people have spent their entire lives dealing with people trying to get them not to be. Yeah, and it's just not good. And when you're pushing someone who's shy, they're going to get, like I said, the emotion that you're going to get from them isn't the emotion that you want that's going to propel your game forward. And honestly, it's just kind of rude. You don't want to make people do what they don't want to do. This is America. So, just play around it. If they're shy and they don't want to get into it, don't ignore them. And that's another part of that I should really emphasize. Just because they're shy, don't skip them. Don't ignore them. Always engage them. Just don't expect them or try to make them do more than they're willing to do at the table. Just let them play the way they want to play, so long as it's within the context of the way that you set the game up and all that. They're still going to have to make decisions, roll dice, and do something. But don't force them to do stuff. Don't force them to play the way that those people who like to hog the spotlight is. It's just not going to. It's just not. Don't do it. My party consists of the players at the session, and they pop in and out as they show, no show. They don't get XP if they're not there. Yeah, that's how I am. I quit. Like I said, I tried for a while to play characters, and it just never ended well. And you'd always do something that the player would come back and say, I would never do that. And now you're kind of stuck because you've got someone who's playing a character that's got a memory now built into their character that they don't like, and that they never would have done. And what do? You can't undo it. Even if you say, it didn't happen, it did happen. So there you go. I had a player that loved to listen and roll dice, loved every session, even though they didn't. Didn't talk much. There's a lot of people like that. And that's perfectly okay. That's a perfectly fine way to play. As a GM, it's your job to kind of adjust and make sure that they're participating, but not so much that it makes them uncomfortable, because once it does, it's going to make your game uncomfortable, and it's going to derail your game, or it runs the risk of derailing your game. So yeah. Let the shy folks be shy. It's perfectly fine. So music. So trick of the trade number 4 was music. Now we always used to have music. Blue Oyster Cult, Carmina Burana, the soundtrack to the original Lion in Winter. If you ever need great intro music, let me see if I can find it. It is one of the most powerful pieces. 𝐓𝐫𝐢𝐜𝐤𝐬 was a big one for us. It's mostly a Blue Oyster Cult. So I'm going to post this, let's see, intro to the Lion in Winter. Now this is the Peter O'Toole one, not the Captain Picard one. I can't remember. What's Patrick Stewart? It's not the Patrick, it's not the Patrick Stewart one. So that's going to give you some feedback. So this is just some fantastic music. Mac's going to remember that. But so we used to play music all the time. Video game soundtracks are really good. There's a artist from the 80s, 𝐓𝐫𝐢𝐜𝐤𝐬. We played a lot because it was just a lot of good background music. A lot of good background music that came with 𝐓𝐫𝐢𝐜𝐤𝐬's Oxygen and Equinox. Just some really good, the Conan soundtracks are a really good one. There's a lot of good music out there. And we used to have it always, Army of Darkness. I'll have to check that out. We used to have it playing all the time. I don't know, we've kind of quit that in the last 10 years, maybe 6, 7 years. We've kind of quit doing it. I think we've revived that a little bit. But the key to music, the key to having music at the table, and this is a very simple, this needs almost no explanation, is just don't have it so loud. Just don't turn it up so that it drowns out what you're doing or what have you. Just keep it kind of quiet. And then the second part of it, was don't choose music that's going to aggravate someone. For instance, I don't know why this is. Copperhead Road. I don't even know who. Is that the band or is that the song? I don't know. Copperhead Road is a song that sends Todd into spasms of rage. And he will tell you for no reason. He doesn't know why. It just infuriates him. It's sort of like Bob Dylan for me. I'm not a huge fan of Bob Dylan. Tim loves Bob Dylan, but he's very nice to me and he doesn't play Bob Dylan around me. I don't know why I don't like Bob Dylan. There's no reason to not. He's a fantastic musician. I just don't like him. And so don't play something at the table that's going to intentionally aggravate somebody. Just, if you know they don't like it, don't play it. Just don't have it at the table. We build a city on rock and roll. There you go. Nox Arcana works well. Oh, that's pretty good. There was a band called... I can't... I almost had it. There's a couple of good... I like instrumental... I much prefer instrument... Now I can't even say the word. Now you know what the word is. Instrumental. Nope. Just my brain is done. Instrumental works. Yeah, instrumental. I've lost my ever-loving mind. Good, sweet God Almighty. All right, yeah, there you go. Why can't I speak? I don't know what happened to that word. It's just gone. The Changelings. Oh, man, Mac, I looked for them the other day. So the Changelings. So Mac and I went to Dragon Con back in 92? No, 91. 89, 90, 91. No, I was in the Army. I just joined the Army. And there was this band there called the Changelings, and they were this great kind of, I don't know, goth band, whatever. Fantastic music for gaming. Absolutely fantastic music for gaming. Barbie Girl or Macarena. Barbie Girl's a pretty good song. Maybe not for gaming. Maybe just to listen to. So now I will tell you this. So here, I think I've talked about this before, and Mac just had to live this. I somehow started to listen, popped up on my feed. I listened to it. This song right here by Katy Perry. I watched that video and listened to that song probably 20 times in a row and created this entire 30-hour gaming session that we played up at Mac's house up on the up where he is, and it was a huge. I'm assuming everyone had a good time. I had a fantastic time. But that video alone, which you would never think, Katy Perry? What? Katy Perry? But there's something about the visuals in it that reminded me in Aird of New Enosia before 𝐓𝐫𝐢𝐜 came. And I kept watching it over and over again, and I kept thinking, this Katy Perry character is kind of how the Enosians saw themselves, kind of cartoonishly, of course, but kind of how they saw themselves. And I began to develop this whole encounter, and then this setting, and then this whole massive adventure built around that music video there. So you never know. You can never tell where your inspiration is going to come from. Could always throw on some Voltaire for fun. There you go. What about sound effect apps? So Vic Danger, I don't ever do that. I've played in games that do, and they're kind of cool. But you really have to, I think, to do that, you really have to have your stuff prepared. You've got to be ready with when whatever it is, whatever sound effect's going to, happen during whatever encounter. You've got to be able to hit that thing immediately so people know. I have occasionally stopped the game to get a sound effect on a phone, but I don't even like doing that because that wrecks pacing, which, as we discussed earlier, is crazy important to me. So I don't do sound effects very often. I try to relate whatever sound I have to something that everyone would know without. And here's the tricky part. I try to relate it to a sound that we would know without using modern technology like it sounds like a backfiring car. I don't, unless you're in Amazing Adventures, I don't want you sitting at the table with a blade in hand and suddenly think, oh, cars. Oh, I got to get my oil changed, or whatever it is. So I try to keep the sound descriptors, relative to whatever type of game I'm playing. But that can be very dangerous. It can be very hard to do sometimes. Is there a sound effect app called Soundboard or something like that? Anyone use it? I'm sure there's tons of apps out there. I'd have to ask. Kim Hartsfield ran us in some Dark Heresy, I think, and I think he was using sound effects. Or Chris did in Traveler. I can't remember one of those. I have used Sirenscape and pre-made Google Music Spotify playlists, and there you go. Alexa plays 80s in the background. on a regular game. Yeah, 80s music. I don't know if I could do that, Andy, man. Todd is crazy about 80s music. He loves the 80s music. I do too. It's good stuff. I was just listening to Voices Carry yesterday. What is that, till Tuesday? But Todd will start singing every damn song that comes on the playlist, and we would be done. At least when I'm doing instrumental music, he can't sing along to it. so it has that advantage to it. May I link to a Reddit page with playlists? Absolutely. Put that up there. I guess. Is that all right, Chuck? I assume. I know someone who used Sirenscape, but it often caused more issues than it solved. I like whatever it is that John and Blue Box RPG uses. Pretty cool with the lighting and sound effects. There are videos from Skyrim that show the bold, cold mountain snow changes, that music playing. Now, I like Skyrim. I listen to a lot of Skyrim music. Skyrim's got a lot of good. I got a playlist of them. They got a lot of good stuff. And they got that really great song, Dragonborn? Is that Skyrim? I think that's Skyrim. That's something I would like for the World of Air, some kind of anthem that is as powerful as that Dragonborn song. That's great music. But I think we have, as we usually do, where am I? We have wandered off topic a little bit, and now I just want to watch that Katy Perry video. I love that song. It's just a good song. And on to Trick of the Trade number 5. Let me roll this guy up and do that. If playing AA have a theme song for characters. Oh, no, that's interesting. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. So AA, for those of you who don't know, is Amazing Adventures. It's the other main game system. Obviously, Troller Games puts out Castles and Crusades. That's not obvious if you don't know who we are or know what Castles and Crusades is. Our primary game is Castles and Crusades RPG, and Amazing Adventures is the modern pulp multi-genre, is what we really tag it as. The multi-genre game that uses the Siege engine, the same mechanic that runs Castles and Crusades runs Amazing Adventures. So you can walk seamlessly from one system to the next with zero problem playing it. You can actually take characters from one system to the next if that's what you're inclined to do and you're golden to do. So the last trick of the trade is don't be afraid to damage equipment. We have talked about this probably in every GM's trick that we have had. I think 60 now or 61. We talk about equipment and damaging equipment. And Chuck, hats off to you. I recognize that scene. I recognize it immediately. It's one of my favorite favorite movies, 13th Warrior. That is the scene where the Vikings fight, where they're challenging the one that I can't remember any of their names in it, but they have the fight to kind of prove that they're serious about what they're doing, and the one tall Viking gets killed by that fellow laying there beneath the ruins of his shield. If those of you who do not know what's going on, his shield was just broken and he was thrown to the ground. Yeah, he had 3 shields broken. Is that Davis? Kind of looks like him, doesn't it? Hair's a little grayer now on Davis, not quite as red as that. But I will tell you this, Mac. I don't think I sent you the picture, but Davis's daughters dyed his hair, tried to dye it darker, and it came out very red. So Davis has been a redhead for a while. It's been rather interesting talking to my oldest brother. Actually, is a redhead, so I'm used to him being a redhead. But Davis, not so much. So it's taken my brain a little bit to kind of get it to wrap itself around Davis with red hair. I'll get the picture. I've got it right here. So it's got to grow out. It just has to grow out or wash out or whatever. I don't know. Oh, good deal. They came, Monkey. Good, epic. Good deal. We rolled a whole bunch of stuff out Monday. I don't know. I'm glad they didn't get broken either. We try to pack and use a lot of those peanuts. So the last one is, like I said, we've talked about a lot of times. Don't be afraid to damage equipment. It's actually critical to play. It's going to there's so many things that happens with equipment. And just a quick recap, because we talk about it all the time. For those of you who may not have heard us gibber before, the equipment is, you can deflect blows. If you roll really high against a character that you know you're going to kill and you don't want to kill them, you can destroy the equipment instead. Destroying equipment creates all kind of flavor text. They break the haft to the polearm. Now they got 2, sticks in their hands, what have you. There's all kinds of just really cool scenes that you can create by breaking equipment. And when you break equipment, it actually will suddenly focus a player's attention. If their shield is bent so and hit with such a horrific blow that the straps break and they have to toss it aside, suddenly they can envision themselves throwing the shield aside. And there's just all of that, plus the added bonus that the more equipment you break, the more they have to buy, and they can use up that gold that they pile up. If they don't use the gold, they end up with a ridiculous amount of treasure, even after 4 or 5 sessions, even if you're stingy. And if your world is stingy, they still end up with 30, 40, 50 gold pieces and nowhere to spend it. So wrecking equipment is just, there's so many good sides to destroying a character's equipment that it just always do it. And it doesn't even have to be a combat. It can just be wear and tear. You guys have been on the road for 4 weeks. Your boots are worn out. You're going to have to spend money to have their soles replaced or buy new ones. You slide down the cliff, you slide down the hill, your armor gets caught on a root and it rips off the bands on the side. There's all kinds of things you can do that aren't combat related and that allow you to destroy equipment or just have it, wear and tear. Any of you guys who've been hiking a lot, do a lot of outdoor stuff, or been in, the Army or the Marines, you know how very, very quickly equipment can break and how easily it can break and how quickly it wears and tears. And just kind of as a side note to my strange mental gymnastics, I'm a absolutely huge Walking Dead fan. I love that TV show. I watch it any chance I get. I've probably watched the season a good twice now. But one of the things always in my head, for those of you who may or may not know, I wear cowboy boots. Most comfortable shoe, most jungle rot. Yeah, there you go. Most comfortable shoe I've ever had on my foot. I recommend them to everybody, whether you live in New York City or wherever. Go get yourself a pair of cowboy boots. Very, very comfortable, easy to put on, easy to take off, just whatever. However, they will wear down. I have to have my boots resoled probably every 6 months. And so when I'm watching The Walking Dead and I see, it's 4 or 5 years now into it, longer than that now, but Rick is always running in his cowboy boots. He's always doing the whatever he's doing. Man, they would have to have a cobbler going with that dude to keep him in cowboy boots. But I tell myself that he keeps finding them, in stores somewhere. Because if not touched, they'll sit there forever. But at any rate, yeah, thank you for the sub, Epi. Very much appreciated. At any rate, damage and destroy equipment. Just make it part of what you do as a GM. It'll be fun for the players, and it'll be fun for you too. And it has just all kinds of added benefits. Don't the boots get too hot to wear? They really don't, Virtual Wizard. I swear to you, it's very crazy. The only time I get uncomfortable in these boots, when I'm on a convention floor and I've been standing up for about 8 solid hours, then it begins to actually wear. My feet get a little bit tired. But I'm relatively certain that any kind of shoe that I would have, if I'm just standing in the same spot for that long, will do that. But I can't sing enough. I started wearing them. Davis got me into it. My oldest brother, who we were talking about earlier, we were at Origins, and he walked in wearing a pair of cowboy boots, and he looked good, and the feet looked good, the jeans looked good, and I said, shit, I'm going to go get a pair of boots. And I did, and holy Carolina, I hadn't put anything on my feet since then. I'm either barefoot or in my cowboy boots. These boots are made for walking. That's a great song by Nancy Sinatra. There you go. I love that song. She's got a bunch of good hits. Do you break magical gear? Yes, I destroy magical equipment. Sometimes it wears out, sometimes it just breaks, especially if they're fighting something. Now, like a +5 or a 4, not so much. But +1s, +2s, yeah, it can get broken, destroyed, dispelled, whatever. And I'm fixing now. Mac, I can say this here because Mac is not going to dislike the idea, but I'm fixing to start giving magic items out, like a magic sword that have charges to it that they're going to wear out. You're going to get to use that blade like 20 times, and then the magic is spoiled and gone. I'm going to run with that concept and see how it goes, just to allow me to cycle different types of magic through the party easier without players accumulating 700 pieces of magic equipment, because I know why players do it. I would do it too on that side of the screen, but it drives me absolutely bonkers. Because I can't, we've talked about in this stream many times that if I can't envision it as yes, and it's coming it's already arrived at the party. It happened last night, and you guys are going to find out about it next week. But there's going to be a little resistance, I think, but it'll be all right. I think that it's just one of those things. If I can't picture it in my head, and I try to picture a lot, and I try to be pretty open to whatever the players are doing, but if I can't picture it, man, it derails my GMing. And this is we go back to players' tricks of the aid. You got to know as a player, you got to understand that the GM is playing too, and if you don't help them enjoy the game, they can't run it very well. So that's just the way it is. I mean, you got to get into it. Consumable weapons. Yeah, I think I'm really going that route. I'll let you know, and we're going to do it. It's already started. Like I said, they don't know, but by next week, and they'll know what it is, and then in 3 or 4 weeks, I'll know how it plays out. I'm pretty excited about doing it. It just now bigger magic items, +4, +5. Those aren't going to have charges, but the smaller ones, they're going to get cycled out. Oh, I love Disenchanter Beasts. But the thing about Disenchanter Beasts, Lucid, it's a dangerous game because you roll in and they disenchant everything, and they make the saving throws, and you might end up destroying an artifact, which it's a roll of the dice. A lot of people are okay with the roll of the dice. Some people, when it gets to big things, get not okay with the roll of the dice, and it's just risky. Doing a dispel magic beast it can be risky. I do it occasionally. Sometimes I did it about 3 years ago in the game that we're running now, where they're 15 level, because there's just too much magic at the table. And there's a creature called, I wrote this creature very specifically for this reason. It's a dragon, a 2-headed dragon, and the monster treasures of air that breathes. Its breath weapon is dispel magic. And it cleaned house pretty good. So that's the way to do it. Hey everyone, just a reminder that we appreciate y'all. Oh, that's me. What? Damn it. I've been using the damage point system since AD&D 2E, the system from the Complete Fighter's Guide. Almost forgot it wasn't a core rule. There you go, but wow, it's part of the game now. That'll make players carry 2 swords like a Witcher, the magic one for bad fights, and that's kind of what I'm thinking. It shouldn't, I don't know, part of it is I want them to cycle the magic through to speed up experience point progression. The idea, and I came to this very, very late in the game. Mac knows. In the early days, and we've talked about this before, I gave experience points out crazy stingy. You could play 4 to 5 hours and come out of it with 8 experience points. You killed one orc that had 4 hit points, you got 8. And that was it. So I'm trying to break that mindset, and part of the way to speed that up, and to speed up experience point progression, is magic weapons, because they come with a nice hefty amount of experience. But if you keep every magic item that you get, you're going to end up with 65 magic items if I keep cycling it through for this purpose to speed up level progression. So I the way around it is charges. Just put charges on that thing. Warden Kanan's Disjunction, a major game changer of a spell. Oh yeah. Yeah. Evil, a dragon that cooks magic items. Yep. I love it. Maybe you only get the XP reward for a magic item when it's worn out. Oh, now that's interesting. That's kind of cool. So you have to use it. You can't even husband the thing. That's a nice twist on that, Commander Pete. I really like that. See, now this is exactly why I love this GM's Tricks of the Trade. Because we all get to sit here and I spit out some stuff, but you guys are throwing some great ideas that I hadn't thought of, because that never crossed my mind. That is just cool. Because then there's a motivation, right? And they don't husband it too long, because if they husband it, you get the same kind of problem going, I'm not going to use this blade, and they end up with 14 magic items. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. My dragons eat magic items. Yep, there you go. Then people will be encouraged to use them, and they won't feel so bad when it breaks. And and that's the key. The idea is to really, when I first started, magic was insanely rare. They were 3rd level easily in the Aristobulus Luther game, which led into the Codex of Air. They were 3rd level before they got any kind of magic item. Mac used the same 4 spells for Aristobulus forever. I just didn't give it out very much. So I tried to break that kind of mindset and not look at magic as, Monty Hall, or low magic as Monty Hall, but look at low magic as something that's a little more commonplace. Commonplace is the wrong word, but you know what I mean. Just it's more prevalent. Saving the big stuff for the +4 defender or for the Vorpal blade or whatever. Those are true magic blades like a Glamdring or whatever the other sword is. I can't remember the other sword. What is Elric's? Damn it, Stormbringer. Good God. Moongloom? No. What was Moongloom's blade called? Stormbringer. Oh Jesus. I like soul gems and charges from Elder Scrolls. Oh no, that's interesting. It's a good way. I mean, if they eat it up quick and they don't, and, they're not sitting on it too long, they'll start hitting each other or killing things that maybe they shouldn't to use for charges. Mornblade. Yeah, there you go. There you go, M5. Man, I gotta read. I got it. 𝐓𝐫𝐤𝐬. Who's Moonbloom? Yeah, I meant who's Moonbloom? That's the. Is that the archer? No, that's the red archer. I don't know. Mornblade. 𝐓𝐫𝐤𝐬's Mornblade, but I don't know who Moonbloom is. I'm sure he's a character from some Moorcock book, but I can't remember. Moonbloom is the companion of champions. Okay, who's the red archer? I thought the red archer was the companion of champions. That's not Rakir. Who's the red archer? Is that or you just meet him in one of the books? Rakir the red archer. Man, I can't actually remember the name. That's a freaking miracle. Rakir is the red archer. I'm sure he's a nice feller. Okay, so he's just a dude. All right. Some reason I had made the red archer into Moonbloom. Or something. Yeah, I thought the red archer was Moonbloom. Man, I haven't read those in forever. I need to read those again. Maybe that's what I'll read next. I got those in nice hardback to those two. Good stuff. Yeah, so anyways, back to Trick or Trade number 5. Yeah, just wreck the equipment. Just wreck it. Magic equipment, wreck it. Wreck everything. It's fun. It's demonstrative. It gets people fired up. And it gives them motivations, and it eats that treasure up, which drives me insane. So that's definitely a bonus all the way around. But I think Rakir is aware of Tanel. Isn't that where he met him? Oh, man. Now I'm going to have to go read those books, dude. It has been so long. I reread the first of the Elric books like a year ago. But then I didn't continue on. I went to the Quorum stuff, and I couldn't find a hardback of the latter 3, so I quit reading it and blah, 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 blah. At any rate, so Mac and I are huge Elric, Michael Moorcock fans. So we could babble about Elric for quite a while. It's good stuff if you haven't read it. Definitely check it out. And Michael Whelan's covers on the Elric stuff is untouchable. Untouchable by any artist I've seen to date. I guess it could be touched, in the future if someone's better, but whatever. But I think we have wandered afield again, and we are a little bit over time today. And I know everybody's got to get out and get some dinner and do what you're doing. And I've got some really dry store-bought chicken to eat. Man, Bifford, I might have to go to KFC. Damn it. But thank you all for joining up. Or showing up today and enjoying the Tricks of Trade. We sure love having you here. If you have not, please give us a follow. Steve, explain how you break the equipment via the rules quickly. Dude, I think I do it. In the CKG, there's a whole section on equipment wastage that I wrote up that gives you charts to roll, the whole 9 yards. But frequently the way I do it is just to hammer it. If I do a lot of damage to a character, I will frequently deflect that character, ask them what they're wearing, and just wreck their equipment after that. I don't roll it. I don't even consult the charts in the CKG. It's just it's hammer time, to quote the 80s. To quote the 80s, who was that? But KFC for breakfast. Yeah, I mean it's a lot of shooting from the hip when it comes to equipment. But there are, if you like charts and if you want the ways, kind of to do that. In the Castle Keeper's Guide, I wrote an entire chapter on equipment wastage and all of that stuff. Otherwise, wing it. Wing it with the dice. Deflect that damage, or don't deflect the damage, just wreck the thing. CK Hammer. Who did Hammer Time? MC Hammer. What? MC Hammer? Yeah, MC's Hammer did Hammer Time. Ugh. Todd would be embarrassed. Todd and Aldo both would be embarrassed. So there you go. Did I miss that barbecue sauce? Damn it. All right. I got to figure out how to get... Maybe I'm going to do that DoorDash and get some KFC here tonight. I don't... Please, Stephen, don't hurt him. There you go. All right. I think that's it for Tricks of the Trade tonight. Thank you all for showing up. Spread the word. We want to grow this channel. We want to get more people joining this conversation. Can't touch this. There you go. Now I got that song. Who did Baby's Got Back? Was that MC Hammer? That was a great song too. My wife loves that song. Yeah, so thanks all for showing up and joining us in today's stream. Sir Mix-a-Lot. Yeah, there you go. My wife absolutely loves that song. She's a child of the 80s too, aren't we all? So, so tone low. It's crazy music. It's good music. All right, that's enough. Okay, we'll go off on some 80s, strange 80s tangent. Have to get tied up in here. So you all have a great rest of your week. We'll be back next Tuesday at 4 o'clock for Ask Me Anything. Chuck's got his game on Saturday. We'll be back for Jim's Tricks of the Trade, something, 62 or something on Thursday next at 4. So please, everybody, come out and join us. Spread the word about this channel. Let everybody know. If you haven't, give us a follow. Everybody, you have a great rest of your evening. And have a great weekend, too. Stay safe out there with this crazy-ass storm rolling over everybody. Take care, all.